Hello, my name is Ted Sass. I live in Omaha, Nebraska, and thank you for taking a few of your minutes to view my weekly gold awards. I've been a lifelong salesman, decades and decades and decades and decades and decades and decades. Yeah, I'm 71 today and I'm still selling every day. Started out when I was 8 years old, knocking on doors in my neighborhood, selling boxed, mixed greeting cards to housewives. Back in those days, in 1948, all the housewives were home. So all you had to do was just walk up on the door and you got to talk to just about every time you knocked on the door, you got to sell some greeting cards. I loved it. Anyway, through the years, I learned one of the hardest things to do was to sell advertising. Now, if you gave me a product to sell. I could sell, just go down the street, and I was a cold call specialist, first call, close call specialist. Companies hired me to fill out their fill out their account list as you went down the from city to city because that was a little bit different than route sales or the kind of sales where you went back to the same customers every week. When you saw a new customer every time you pulled on the door, you had to be good to sell. I mean, you did. You had to know what you were doing. And so it took me a long time because I'm a hard-headed German, but I got to be pretty good at it. Anyway, one of the hardest things that I learned to do over the years was sell advertising. I tried to sell advertising several times because it looked like people that were selling advertising were selling a lot of it. Everywhere I looked, I saw advertising. so, so I decided to try to sell advertising several different times, and I did all right, but I just didn't really hit that nail right on the head like I did when I sold a product. So I started after I retired. So I, stayed away from advertising through the years for the most part. In fact, just about all. I was always selling a product. At the end, for about 5 years or so, I sold insurance. I had never sold insurance before, and I got put to work by Blue Cross and Blue Shield in Nebraska, and I did a real good job with that because it was selling an idea along with the product, and it turned out it was the best insurance company as far as I could show people where it was the best place to buy insurance. I learned real quick. I'd never sold insurance before, but when they put me to work to sell Blue Cross, I learned that the first week or two in the field, I was an experienced salesman. And I got my insurance license, and so I went out and started working. And they put me in the worst territory in Nebraska, clear out in Valentine, Nebraska, and there's more cows out in that area than was people to buy insurance. But if you worked hard, you could sell insurance. But I learned that people would say when I'd say, "Hello, my name's Ted Sass. I work for Blue Cross. I'm here to talk to you about your health insurance." They'd say, "Oh, Blue Cross, yeah, that's a real good insurance. The only problem is, it's so darn expensive." So I said, well, and I really didn't know what I was doing the first, and they didn't give me any training. They just threw a book at me and said, "Go to work," because I said I was an experienced salesman, So anyway, I got to thinking about that. Well, if everybody else is selling some, I looked at there were 16 other managers and territory managers, and they were all selling Blue Cross insurance. Now, of course, I learned later on that people they were in the bigger areas, and people walked in and was looking for insurance for some reason or other, and they were in bigger areas and they had a lot more people to see and so on and so forth. But anyway, be that as it may, uh, I got to looking at that real close, and I started studying the Blue Cross insurance and the regulations and all the state involvement in the health insurance. And come to find out that the real key to health insurance, and of course this is something the government don't ever tell you or don't ever get involved in because it's a social program. It's not even health insurance. But anyway, that's another story. But I learned real quick that the states all regulate the insurance. The companies that you have to have a license to sell insurance in any state, insurance company, because they want to check your financial bona fides. They want to make sure that you can pay claims, and so and of course it's all political fix because they've got it fixed so that you can't sell insurance companies across line just because you're registered in one state. You can't go over across the line and sell that same insurance in the next state. You got to go through the bureaucratic hoops and get signed up to sell that insurance in the other state. Now, what's all this got to do with gold? Well, be patient. I'm getting around to that. You have to understand this whole deal, why it works, okay? So I learned that Blue Cross insurance, the principle of buying health insurance, and this is what the government never ever tells you or never ever looks at, and that is you always have to buy the most amount of insurance for the least amount of money because everybody doesn't have the same amount of money to spend on health insurance. And that's why the government, they want to get votes, and so they pass these laws, and they got this health thing all screwed up. I mean, you talk about screwed up. I mean, it's not even health insurance. It's a social program. It's a vote getter program. And anyway, excuse me for getting involved in all that. I'm burning up time here like crazy. 6 minutes already. Gold is what we're here to talk about, right? So with gold, it's the same thing with gold as it is with insurance. Now back to Blue Cross, I found out that the states keep track of how much premium that a company collects, and then they also keep track of what the amount of claims they pay in relation to the amount of premiums they collect. It's called the loss ratio. In other words, the loss of the revenue for the company in the state based on the prices they charge for them. They have to publish their prices to the state ahead of time and show them what the benefits are, and that policy has to be approved by law to sell it in the state. You just can't go in, insurance company just can't go in and start selling a policy. They have to get the policy approved, so to speak. Excuse me. Excuse me. They want to know what's going on, that you're not out here, pulling a fast one on the consumers. And that's a good thing. Excuse me. So what happens is we find out, after I dug into it, I find out that Blue Cross returns almost 92 to 97% of the revenue, the premiums they collect. They return about 92 to 97%, in the middle 90s, the high 90s, low 90s of all the money they collect in premiums. They return back to the people when there's a claim for the ones that have the insurance. Okay. Now the commercial companies, the competitors of Blue Cross, they return like 60 to 70%. So, that's the insurance to buy, because you always want to buy the most amount of insurance. Well, the most amount of insurance is the one that pays the highest rate of claims. So Blue Cross is operating as an association membership deal where the commercial companies are in it to make money on your health insurance product. So they want to pay out as little as they can, but they've got to be competitive. And so they have different kinds of products that pay more and different kinds of products that pay less. And the ones that pay more cost more, and the ones that pay less cost less. So yeah, the salesman then they learn real quick to qualify their customer, how much money they got to spend, and that's the kind of insurance they sell them. But see, that's all screwy. The idea of insurance is just Blue Cross basically invented insurance, health insurance, not life insurance, but health insurance. So uh, the thing is, with you want to buy as much insurance as you can for the least amount of money. Well, the least amount of money turns out to be what you can afford, doesn't it? Okay, so now what does this have to do with gold? Well, here's the thing. With insurance, the laws are passed so that they do it. The companies get together and they pass these laws. They can't give people any incentive to buy their insurance. In other words, you can't issue a coupon and you get 20% off if you buy my insurance. See, because the companies, the politicians and the administrators and the bureaucracy know about selling and so on and so forth and marketing. And so with people's health insurance, they're not going to let them get into a battle of who's going to sell and who's going to give the most away in order, because everybody's got to understand, and certainly the people that are our political leaders understand but they don't understand this in the laws they pass, but in the economy and companies understand, and the consumers don't understand it too much. But the more you advertise, the more you give coupons, the more you give special prices, that all has to be recovered either in higher sales or it's added to the price, because they've got to make a profit, right? So, and this with advertising, all the advertising you see, what people don't understand now, they're starting to wake up to it a little bit, because customers, when I say people, I'm talking about customers. Uh, all this advertising you see, and most of it is just a total waste, because it's not even advertising. These big companies that spend all this money, they're not trying to get new customers. If you look at the companies that are spending all the money, they've already got a huge, what's called the share of market. Okay, so what they're trying to do is hold on to what they got, keep the people that are buying from them buying their brands instead of somebody else's brand, and they're battling with all this advertising in order to move that share of market, if they can, just a 1/4% or a 1% or two. If you move a share of market 2, 3, 4, 5%, you've really shook up the competitors, let me tell you. Somebody's doing something wrong. But that's a small amount to move your sales compared to the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that they spend company by company. It's trillions or billions, and I don't know about trillions, but it's billions and billions and billions of dollars is spent on advertising. And what people don't understand is every nickel of that, every penny of that is put on the price that you pay to buy that product. So when you think you're getting a deal, like in the supermarket or wherever at that low price, well, it'd be a lot lower if there wasn't all that advertising spent on there. So, all right, what's all this got to do with gold? Well, here's the thing about gold. Gold, there's only so much of it, and gold is the centerpiece of value in an economy. It's all every value is measured on the value of gold. The more gold you have, the less debt you have. Well, in other words, the more you're worth, the more gold you have, the more you're worth. So when it comes to giving things away, uh, the way things are done in business is they give these coupons or they give these special prices, and if you notice, there's always a limited time on them. So what they're trying to do is get you to buy from them during that coupon period, but they can't keep that price low all the time. Otherwise, it makes them less money or it makes them less competitive by having that lower price all the time. They have to sell so much more to recover that lower price. That's why you see the limits on the coupons. And so what they're doing, if 1 week the consumers, I mean, sometimes they're not informed, but they're not stupid. I mean, unless there's, unless you've got a few people that well, they buy Coke no matter whether it's how much higher it is than Pepsi, okay? But most of us, uh, they go to the end caps and the stores and the ones that are on sale on the weekend. If they need pop, that's the kind they buy. And then the next week, the ones that got the special price that's lower than all the rest of them, then that's the one they buy if they need pop or want pop. So in the same way with just any other product, most people now, some people uh, you see them, they walk up and they grab. They don't even look what the price or the size of the can or the whatever. They want that. And they reach up there and they grab that. Uh, but most people are looking to get as much as they can for their money, so they're careful about how they spend it. All right. So anyway, now, what's all this got to do with gold? I've said that about 6 times. I'm finally going to tell you. But we've covered a lot of ground here, and there's a lot of information that I just gave you. So maybe you want to go back and look at this video again. You might have been getting a little patient because you're wondering about what's all this about gold, weekly gold awards, but you have to understand everything up to this point to understand why weekly gold awards is so exciting, okay? All right, so now what I've got here is a situation. I sell a zip code associates plan, business plan, exclusive plan to approved local independent business owners, not franchises, not national companies, okay? Because what we've seen and we're seeing is the big companies have eaten into it's just the same thing that's happened out on the farms, okay? The corporate farms have pushed the small family farmer out of business. This has been going on for 20, 30, 40 years, okay? I mean, and that's not good because, first of all those family farmers have been pushed into they got to go out and get a job, don't they? So then it's tough on the job market, and it just I could talk for an hour about just that problem. But the same thing is true with your local independent business owners. There's over 32 million of those because they're in every city in the United States. Now, national companies and franchises aren't in every city in the United States. They're in, and some of your longer and older ones are in many of those states. But you see, that causes a problem too. And we see the evidence of that is these big older companies are having a tough time trying to stay in business. And they've been all bought up by the big brands, the big companies in the United States. So big is not good necessarily. There's some good reason to get bigger, but only to a point, because you can't continue to get big without creating a box that you have to keep raising your prices, and every time you raise your prices, and got all these other consolidations going on, like's been going on in farming and like's been going on with the local independent business owners, less and less of those, more and more people out trying to get jobs. And then you've got all the other consolidations when companies buy out companies. They don't need as many helpers, workers, so that contracts the job market. And so what you've got is a situation that is not healthy. And so the number of local independent business owners is critical to the continuation of the strength of our economy. If you don't have local independent business owners across the board in all the categories, look at a yellow page phone directory and see all the categories you have to have in a good, vibrant, strong economy locally, city by city. you have to have many of those categories of businesses in working and operating in those cities, employing people. Now, fortunately, there's still more local independent business owners than there is big national companies and franchises, but they're shrinking. And the reason they're shrinking is because there are so many of them, the competition is so keen that none of them are really doing a bang up job as far as being in business for yourself, because being in business for yourself is supposed to be better than working for somebody, right? Because working for somebody, you get a salary. You're not involved in the profit of the company. Whereas when you're working for yourself, you're supposed to get a salary, plus you're supposed to make a profit. So when marketing and advertising gets into the picture, in order to offer things to people to induce them to do business with you, let's say you own a beauty shop. Now, I picked beauty shops for a reason, because women get used to going, and men too now, to beauty shops where they like the way that the operator fixes their hair, cuts their hair, and designs their hair. They like it. I mean, they find one that they like the way they do their hair, and that's the one they keep going to. But that makes it tough on the one that wants to get that customer, doesn't it? So you got to have a really powerful reason to get that lady to go to a different cosmetologist, the designer, what do you call them, beauticians. That makes it real tough, and it makes it tough on the beauticians too to try to stay in that business, and not because most of them now are they're kind of held down into the amount of customers, and then you couple that with the problem that they can only do so many hairs a day, so many heads a day, and so then that's a limiting factor too. So that's why you see so many of them building a shop and renting out the chairs to other beauty shops so they get a cut on their income. So anyway, but I'm going to tell you something. If you've got a real powerful reason for a lady to get her hair fixed at another beauty shop or another beautician that the other beauticians can't offer that lady, and that value is enough of an incentive, she's gone. Just how simple it is, you see, because that is a motivator to change where you're spending your money. And that's what Weekly Gold Awards is all about. Because with Weekly Gold Awards, what I do is the businesses that want to use my program and get involved with Weekly Gold Awards, I charge them $30 a week and $30 a year and $9 a week to get into my program. And I have what's called Capitalism Zero Profit Marketing and Advertising. What that means is I have a written published agreement that I publish online that says all the money that the members put in that are approved are spent to promote those members. Now, no advertiser does that, do they? No, they don't. But my program, Capitalism Zero Profit Marketing and Advertising, for my zip code associates that are approved by chapter cities, does that. And my Weekly Gold Awards, I take half of that $9 a week they pay, and I put it in, and I by written agreement and put it into Weekly Gold Awards. And then the Weekly Gold Awards is awarded to the customers that are signed up on the email marketing program. And the email marketing program is to notify them that they're included in Weekly Gold Awards now as the group, and also in the weekly coupon offers that the members offer as a benefit to do business with them on a continuing weekly basis. And the Weekly Gold Awards are awarded every week, and they're awarded by categories of businesses. So all the beauty shops that are approved by zip codes and carrier routes, they have half of what they're putting in that goes into the Weekly Gold Award for the beauty shop category all across the country. And the same way with the independent pizza stores or the independent convenience stores that sell gas, or the electricians or the dry cleaners or the plumbers or any kind of business that's independent that is applies for my program, zip code associates in their city. If there's two in a zip code, then there has to be one category in each carrier route. Okay, in other words, you can't, because what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to give the consumers in that zip code where they live and also where they work only certain businesses to do business with in order to get the weekly gold awards and the branded coupons that those businesses offer that they can't get from the other businesses. And the idea there is to help those businesses who are exclusive with weekly gold awards gain a progressive, growing local independent business owner. And believe it or not, that's good for the local economy. If nobody's making, if there's there's up to 140 different kinds of every kind of business, every business category, the only ones making any money is the one, the Yellow Page advertising. They go out and try to sell advertising to every one of them, and every one of them are listed in the category. So if you go there, that's why they go out and tell these people, well, the bigger the ad, the more likely they'll pick your business because they'll think you're the one to do because you got the biggest ad. Well, that might be true and it might not. I don't know what the statistics are, but I know this much: it costs a fortune to buy that big ad in that paper because there's only so many pages in each category. So if you're using up more of the space, you've got to charge a lot more money for that ad than you do the little line ad that you get in there. Okay, if you're going to be in the Yellow Pages. And there's a business I never could quite understand. I've attempted to go out and sell those Yellow Pages, but I never did do it. But I never did understand those businesses have to pay a fortune to get those big ads. And whether or not that's really working for them, they keep buying them, so there must be something to it. But I never did quite understand it, and I still don't. I still don't think it's the best way to spend money. I think the best way to spend money for marketing and advertising is the concept I have. Now, people say, well, how do you know that all that money is going to be spent given to the consumers? Well, because I have a program called CPA Verified CPA Audits Online. That simply means that I take part of that $9 a week from each one of the business owners and put it into a fund that hires independent contractor certified public accountant to do a financial reconciling of all the money that comes in of the memberships, approved memberships, businesses, and then all the expenses and what is put into each one of the categories of expenses. And then they publish a certified public accounting sign-off audit online so the businessmen can see and the customers can see the gold group value amount rising, and the businessmen can see that all the money is being spent as per the member agreement, you see. And there's many other aspects to my business plan that are unique, original, and branded and copyrighted. So, but why the gold? Why not just? I started out with weekly cash awards, and I have daily cash awards, and I have weekly benefit awards, and I was searching for the right one, but every one of them had some drawbacks to it, and it hit me, wait a minute, weekly gold awards, because when you put in cash as an advertising program, as a business owner, that cash has a cost to it that is diminishing, isn't it? It depends on the market value, okay? But when you have gold that you're putting out, it has an increasing value. doesn't it? Because gold is on the rise. It always has been. Now the market fluctuates, but if you've held gold long term, gold is worth more by long-term values than the dollar is by far. So weekly gold awards. Now, the way that the program works is the weekly gold awards are put into a secure gold keeper, okay, that's registered and validated in terms of the amount of money that's represented by the gold price. That when it's bought and put in that secure gold keeper, and so the gold that's there, if the market fluctuates up, that total gold value is worth more when the total gold after it's put in there. But the number of people that are in the in the email marketing list is static. So what does that mean? Well, that means that there's more gold to distribute to the group than there are people in the group. So that makes the value of that gold worth more for each one of the members in the group. Okay. And say, well, then when do we ever get it out? The question is, do you want? You can get it out anytime, but then you drop out of the list. When you take your gold out, then you're not in the list anymore. You don't participate in the weekly gold awards anymore. Now, some people are going to do that, but if they do that, that's going to make the gold worth more for everybody that's left in the list, isn't it? Now, the thing is, this is a weekly. These $9 a week that these approved people they put in that $9 every week, and half of that buys gold every week and is put into that. So you'd really have to be kind of dim-witted to take your gold out and go spend it, see, because then when it's gone. But the gold that's left in there, that is, you've got a published CPA sign-off audit on the total value of the gold as it increases in value, and then the membership agreement, legal membership agreement that's published, shows the people who have a vested interest in that total amount, and as it rises, and the group of people that are have a vested interest and are divided so that the total, it's not necessarily call it a share, but it's a comparison of the total number of people that are in the group and the total amount of gold that there is at any given audit, including any price fluctuations of the gold. And then the simple division tells you what gold value is worth to each member that's in that mailing list. Okay, so now you have to believe that if you're a consumer and you're out here going to a certain dry cleaners because it might be close to where you live, but they're not giving weekly gold awards. Then there's another dry cleaner that's down the street or over here. And you got to remember, these people are all organized by zip code. So there's a dry cleaner in every zip code. If there's a zip code, if there's a dry cleaner in a zip code, I guarantee you one of them are going to want to be in this program, because the only ones that offer the weekly gold awards are the ones that are an approved zip code associate. And you can't get in if there's already one there in your zip code. See, that's how that works. So the thing is, like Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm at, the budget for members on the first phase is 1,000 businesses, okay, and each one a different category. 10 carrier routes in a zip code, 10 members per carrier route of different categories, and then 10 carrier routes in one zip code. That's 100 members in one zip code. 10 zip codes is 1,000 members. So that's $9,000 a week that those 1,000 different businesses in each different zip code, in each different carrier route, are putting into the total overall marketing program. 50% of it buys gold every week, and so that means that there's $4,500 worth of gold bought every week, and take that times 4.3. That works out to about $18,000 worth of gold a week, a month, and 12 months out of the year, that works out to somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 worth of gold. Now, with $250,000 worth of gold, over a period of a year's time, if that gold fluctuates, say 10% up, well, if you can quickly figure out that $250,000 is going to be worth a lot more by the end of the year than it was when you put the $4,500 in the first week, because that $4,500 with the first week is going to be worth 10% more. It's going to be worth $4,500 and $4,000, almost $5,000. That first week is going to be worth almost $5,000 a year later. And then every week, as that gold fluctuates, and it looks, so-called, the experts are saying the long term is nothing but up for gold, because of a lot of pressures in the economy and so forth, and that aren't affected by the gold value, is not necessarily affected by the pressures, other pressures that are on the dollar. That lowers the dollar, and when those pressures get really pressure, the gold goes up, the dollar goes down. So this is a good marketing program for local businesses owners on an exclusive basis, because they've also got branded coupons where they can work with their products that they can offer on a weekly basis to keep people coming back to their business, okay, to buy, because that's where they get weekly gold awards, okay? So give that some more thought, and this is 37 minutes already, and I know that's a long time, and I really do appreciate, I really do apologize. I was going to say appreciate that you had the patience to listen, but I apologize at the same time for you listening to this long-winded video, and I encourage you to look the video, review it again and again and again, because you have to really understand what's going on here with this program. And then you can go to my website. You can go to the Weekly Gold Awards website and see different aspects of the same plan, but operated on a different basis, because that's the beauty of this program. I created a program called Fungible Benefits and Fungible Values. And what that means, memberships, what that means is that the gold value deal can be fungible with a different subset business organization group. You'll see that on my website. But the two share, the fungibility goes back and forth between the two membership subsets, and both of them are exclusive. So this is a way to develop the exclusivity of the categories of businesses without affecting each one competitively in their local markets. You have to really get into that and study that to understand the fungibility of my program and it different subsets of the different zip code associates focus of the marketing of advertising and services. Okay? And if you have questions, by all means, send me an email. It's there on the last slide of this video. Thank you for watching, and I want you to have the greatest success possible. All right? I'll see you around the corner.